Good morning, students. So we are going through the chapter Diversity in Living Organisms. In the last class, I explained you about the Whittaker's five kingdom classification. This five kingdom classification is given by the Robert Whittaker, scientist named Robert Whittaker. So in the last class, I explained you about the Monera. Monera is you can say the unicellular prokaryotes. Unicellular means which is having which in the organism in which single cell is performing all the activities inside an organism body. Whereas prokaryotes means the organism which lacks the nuclear membrane, well developed nuclear membrane, and most of the cell organelles are absent in this prokaryotes. And after that, I explained you that Monera may be autotrophic or may be heterotrophic or animals. Autotrophic means which can prepare their own food. Heterotrophic means which depend upon others. And after that, just I gave you the examples of Monera, that is Mycoplasma and E. coli. Okay. So today I am going to explain you about the second kingdom, the second classification, the second kingdom classification, that is Protista. So all of you write Protista. So Protista means, protist means primitive, or you can say very first. Okay. So you can write this consists of unicellular. This consists of, these consists of unicellular eukaryotes. These are the primitive eukaryotes, or you can say the unicellular eukaryotes. True nucleus is present in them. Second point, you can write the true nucleus is present in them. Membrane bound cell organelles are also present. Membrane bound cell organelles are also present. So the true nucleus is present means the nucleus is properly developed, and membrane bound cell organelles are present, like the mitochondria is present, and you can say the plastids, vacuoles. These all are the cell organelles which are present in this Protista, because these are eukaryotes, and eukaryotes are having the proper nuclear membrane is present. Well, they are having the true membrane, all the cell organelles are present. No? So in in Monera, what I explained you, those are unicellular prokaryotes. But now in Protista, these are unicellular eukaryotes. And here they are having the proper developed nucleus, and membrane bound cell organelles are also present. Third point, all of you write, some protists use appendages. Such protists use appendages. Appendages means hair-like structures. Okay. So hair-like cilia or whip-like flagella. Okay, you can write appendages like hair, like cilia, or whip-like flagella for locomotion. So some protists, for example, you can see the paramecium. So paramecium uses their hair-like cilia for the locomotion, and the whip-like flagella, you can see the example Euglena. So like you can see the amoeba use the pseudopodia. So these are uses the different appendages for the purpose of locomotion. Okay. So next point, locomotion means for movement. Cilia is like the hair-like structure, and whip-like structure like this. No. So this is, so like this they use the structures, or used it like this, they use aperture for the locomotion. No. And okay, see the amoeba like to if the amoeba, see this is the amoeba, if the amoeba wants to engulf this food, with the help of this pseudopodia, they can use to engulf the food. And for the purpose of locomotion also, the you can write the here also amoeba for locomotion, whip-like structure and flagella, or you can like in your amoeba. Pseudopodia. All these are example for locomotion. Okay, next point, all of you write mode of nutrition may be autotrophic or heterotrophic. The same mode of nutrition. Mode of nutrition may be autotrophic or heterotrophic, which can prepare their own food or which depend upon another. Next, the example of like the example again, you can write the euglena that I explained you, that euglena use this whip-like structure for locomotion, and the protozoans, amoeba, okay, or paramecium. These are the example of protista. Okay, students. So next, this is we now just I explained you the Monera in the last class. After that, the protista. Now we discussed. After that, we will discuss the third category or third kingdom, that is fungi. So the next is fungi. So fungi, you can write the fungus, or you just heard about the mushroom, right? So first point you can write, they are heterotrophic and eukaryotic organism. Heterotrophic and eukaryotic organisms. Okay. Next point, you can write they may be unicellular or filamentous. Most of them are having the capacity to become multicellular in certain stages of life. So firstly, you can be observed that they may be unicellular. They may be unicellular. Like example, you can see the yeast, no? And next, they may be filamentous. They may be unicellular and they may be filamentous. Okay. So filamentous, most of the fungi are the filamentous in structure, and during the certain stages of life, they can become multicellular. Okay. So next example. You see some of these fungi may be parasitic in nature, or some of them are saprophytic nature. Parasite means definitely which can feed on hosts, no? Which feed on host, in which only one organism is getting benefited. Whereas in the second example, you can see the saprophytic, which can depend on the dead or decay. So you can write, students, some parasitic, some are parasitic in nature. Okay, which depend upon host for their food. Whereas like in this example, you can Puccinia, the example of parasitic is Puccinia, and you can see the example is Albugo, and some are saprophytes. The examples are Puccinia and Albugo, and and some are saprophytes. Saprophytes means which depend upon dead or decay. So the examples of saprophytes is Mucor and Agaricus. So their cell wall is made up of tough sugar complex. This point is important. So some of them, their cell wall is made up of tough sugar complex, that is called as chitin or fungal cellulose. That is called as chitin or fungal cellulose. Okay. So the examples are yeast, aspergillus, penicillins, and mushroom, which are having the tough sugar complex as their the outer cell wall is made up of tough sugar complex that is called as chitin or CHI. Okay, this is CHI, which is called as chitin and fungal cellulose. Some fungi are living in a permanent relationship with other organisms. They look like the same organism. That relationship between them is called as symbiosis, in which two organisms are getting equally. The organisms are equally benefited with each other. That association of two organisms is called as symbiosis. Okay. So some live in permanent mutually. Some fungi live in permanent, mutually dependent relationship. Is called symbiosis, in which, like for example, blue-green algae and fungi. No, the mutual relationship is between the blue-green algae and the fungi. The mutual relationship between blue-green algae is also called as cyanobacteria and fungi. And the association of this cyanobacteria and fungi is also called as this. The association of cyanobacteria and fungi is also called as lichens. These are the pollution indicators, this lichens. Okay. So these are the slow growing large colored patches on the tree barks, or these are the pollution indicator. Algae provide the obviously the algae provide the fungus with food, whereas fungi provide them shelter. So here the both organisms are mutually benefited. See here the association between the fungi and algae. So what is that? So the algae provide the fungus with food, no, and whereas the fungi provide them with shelter. So this is how the both organisms, one is giving the food and another giving is shelter. So in which the both organisms are mutually getting benefited, no, because like in parasitic relationship, only the organism depend upon the host. Only one organism is getting the benefit. No, the organism the another organism is only the host. That is not getting any benefit from the second one, no, from the parasitic one. So this is about the fungi. So the examples of fungi also you can see the mushroom, the agaricus, or you can say the mushroom, that the scientific name is agaricus or mushroom, or you can see the aspergillus or penicillium is all the example of fungi. So these are the heterotrophic and eukaryotic organisms. They may be unicellular, filamentous, or they often get multicellular in certain stages of their life. Some are parasitic, whereas some are saprophytic. I explain you, parasitic means which depend upon host, and the saprophytes which are depend upon dead or decay. I just gave you the example of parasitic. Parasitous example is Puccinia, as well as the albugo, and the examples of saprophytes that I explained you, the agaricus or mucor. Their cell wall is made up of tough sugar complex that is called as chitin or fungal cellulose. And when the fungi and algae are living in a mutually dependent relationship, in which both organisms are getting equal benefit with each other, that association is called as symbiosis. Like if algae and fungi are living together in a mutual relationship in which both organisms are getting benefited, then that relationship and the both organism is together said to be as lichens. You can observe that these are the green colored, these you can see, observe, these are the green colored patches in the tree barks, and these are the pollution indicator. So students, next category we will, next kingdom we will see of plantae. So plantae is what? All plants are come in this category. So all of you know the plants are the multicellular eukaryotes with cell walls made up of cellulose. These are multicellular eukaryotes with cell walls. We all know the plants are having the cell wall, and the cell wall is made up of cellulose. With cell wall is made up of cellulose. Okay. Next point, all of you write, growth is unlimited and continuous till death. Growth is unlimited and continues till death. You just imagine the plant. The plant are multicellular eukaryote. Growth is unlimited, continues till death. They are always fixed at one side and cannot move like animal. They are stationary, or you can say the fixed. They are not mobile. They are stationary. They are not mobile, or they can't show the mobility like animals. They are fixed at their fixed site. Next, they are all so they obviously the mode of nutrition is autotrophic. These are autotrophs. So because which can prepare their own food are called as autotrophs by the process of photosynthesis. The chlorophyll pigment is present in the plants. The chlorophyll pigments are responsible for the absorption of light, sunlight, where they prepare food for themselves by the process of photosynthesis. Okay. So next category we will see that Animalia. Next kingdom which we will studying, that is Animalia. In this category all the animals are there. All the animals are present. So these are multicellular eukaryotes without cell wall. These are multicellular eukaryotes without cell wall. Obviously animals lack cell walls. Next point you can write, they have definite shape and size. They have definite shape and size. We all know, we all are, and we, like all animals we can see. So we are all having the fixed shape and fixed size. No. Next category, next point. Most of them can move from one place to another. Obviously, most of the animals can move from one place to another. So they show mobility. Third point. The last point, the mode of nutrition is heterotrophic. What is heterotrophic? Which depend upon another animals for their food. They can't prepare their own food by their own. They depend upon the autotrophs, or you can say they depend upon plants for their food. So this was the 5 kingdoms classification which was given by the Robert Whitaker. So first kingdom was Monera, then Protista, then Fungi, Plantae and Animalia. So students, today we learned about this 5 kingdom classification of Robert Whitaker. In the next class, I will be explaining you the broad classification of this kingdom Plantae. Okay. So thank you for today's class.